In number one, we have a polynomial inequality, and what we're going to do is we're going to start by factoring. Okay, so let's factor. We do have 0 on the right-hand side, and we put it in that form, and then we factor in order to get ready to do a plus-minus analysis. Okay, so here when we factor, we have xx, and we have a plus 3 minus 2. Okay. So we want to know, when is this greater than or equal to 0? Greater than or equal to 0, that means positive or 0. Okay, so we're looking for both. Where is it positive and where is it 0? All right, well, this is equal to 0 when x is equal to minus 3 and when x is equal to 2. So now we do what we call the plus-minus analysis. And we put the minus 3 and the 2 on the number line. Make sure you do this in order. Minus 3 is to the left of 2. And this is where the polynomial is 0. So we'll put closed circles here to indicate that this is where the polynomial is equal to 0. Now if we substitute in values in the intervals in between, we'll see if this is greater than, if this is positive or negative. For example, if we substitute in a 3, which is to the right of 2, then 3 plus 3 is positive and 3 minus 2 is positive. So we have a positive times a positive. That means that this polynomial is positive on this entire interval. Now how about in between? Let's say we substitute a number in between minus 3 and 2, like 0, and we have 0 plus 3 is positive and 0 minus 2 is negative. So we have a positive times a negative, which is negative. So our polynomial is negative between minus 3 and 2. And now let's substitute in to the left of minus 3, let's say a minus 4. And we have the first factor is negative, and this one also negative. Negative times negative is positive. So that's our plus-minus analysis. Now we want to know, when is this positive or 0? Okay, so here I'm going to just indicate that on these intervals our polynomial is positive, and right here it's 0. So we have this area here, this interval here, which is x less than or equal to minus 3, and to the right we have x greater than or equal to 2. And again, we're including 2 because that's where it's equal to 0, and we're including minus 3 because that's where it's equal to 0. And we want to know, when is it positive or 0. So it's positive or 0 on these intervals. Okay, let's do the same thing in number 2. We're going to get ready for our plus-minus analysis. We already have 0 on the right-hand side. We want to know, again, when is this greater than or equal to 0? That means positive or 0. All right, let's factor for our plus-minus analysis. Let's factor out x squared. All right, now the first factor is 0 when x is equal to 0. And this second factor is 0 when x is equal to 5. So we're going to put 0 and 5 on the number line, both with closed circles, because that's where our polynomial is equal to 0. Now, to the right of 5, if we substitute in like 6, for example, we have positive, positive. In between 0 and 5, if we substitute in 1, for example, we have positive, negative, so that would be negative. And let's say to the left of 0, if we substitute in negative 1, we again have positive, negative. So again, negative. All right, again, we want to see where this is positive or 0. So positive would be here, and 0 would be here and here. So let's list all these segments and together with this point. So we have this piece over here is x greater than or equal to 5. And then we have this 0 over here, x equals 0. All right, in number 3, first we need 0 on the right-hand side. So let's rearrange this. So we have x cubed minus 4x squared greater than or equal to 0. All right, sorry, this time it's not greater. This time it's just less than 0. So let me just change that. Okay, I'm going to just cross that off. This time we're doing less than 0. So here we just want to know when is the expression negative. All right, let's factor out x squared. And we have here x minus 4, and we have less than 0. Okay, so we're going to put 0 and 4 on our number line. And both with closed circles, because that's where our expression is equal to 0. All right, where is this less than 0? Well, if we substitute in 5, we have positive, positive. If we substitute in a 1, we have positive, negative. And if we substitute in negative 1, we have, again, positive, negative. So again, negative. We want to know when is this negative, so that would be here and here. Don't include the zeros now, because we don't want to include where this is equal to 0, only less than 0. So negative would be, this piece would be x less than 0. And then this piece over here would be x between 0 and 4. In number 4, we have a rational function. We're going to include the zeros of the numerator and denominator. All right, so those would be on our number line. So the 0 of the numerator is 2, and we have a closed circle for 2, because that is a 0 from the numerator, and that's where this fraction is equal to 0. Now from the denominator is 0 when x is equal to minus 7. So we put an open circle there, because that's not where our expression is equal to 0. That's where the denominator is 0. We only put, for the zeros of the numerator, we have closed circles. For the denominator, open circles. We want to know when is this positive or 0. Okay, so let's do our plus minus analysis. Let's say if we put in 3, we have positive divided by positive. If we put in between minus 7 and 2, we have 0. We have negative divided by positive. And to the left of minus 7, let's say minus 8, we have negative divided by negative, which is positive. Now let's see, positive or 0 is what we're looking for. So let's shade in the positive segments and point to the 0. Okay, so we're going to list this piece as x less than minus 7, and this piece as x greater than or equal to 2. All right, let's get 0 on the right-hand side in number 5. Let's rearrange this, x to the 4th minus 16x squared less than 0. Okay, so here again we want just negative, not 0, just negative. Okay, factor out x squared. And let's factor again x plus 4x minus 4. So we have a 0 coming from the first factor, a minus 4 from the second, and a 4 from the third. Those are the zeros of each factor, and those go on the number line in order. So first the minus 4, then the 0, and then the 4. And they all have closed circles because they're all coming from the numerator. There is no denominator. All right, now the plus minus analysis. If we put in a 5, for example, everything is positive. If we put in a 1, we have positive, positive, negative. If we put in a minus 1, again positive, positive, negative. So that's again negative. If we put in minus 5, we have positive, and then here we have a negative, and here we have negative. Two negatives, that would be positive. Now, we want less than 0. We're just interested in negative. That's here and here. Okay, only this. Do not include the zeros. Right, so for this piece, we have x between the minus 4 and the 0. And for this piece, we have x between 0 and 4.